Welcome to lesson 2 of Trust Me. This is Angie Johnsey, your mind coach, and we are moving on to healing and starting to understand how to rebuild this confidence. And what is this confidence? And what does it even mean when I talk about confidence? Where does it come from? How do we grow it? How do we support it? Why don't I have it already? So we're going to be answering all of these questions. So I'm going to start to read to you today's lesson. And as I did in the last lesson, in lesson 1, as I read, I will be pausing and elaborating and giving examples and explaining whatever it is that comes up. So here we go. I want to begin by addressing the environmental category. I mentioned in lesson 1 that if you were raised by harsh or critical parents who fell on the stronger side of the confidence fence, that you have environmental factors. And by confidence fence, I mean when we look at the PH360 wheel of the 6 health types, you have one side, 3 of those fit in one category and 3 of those fit in another category. And so I'm kind of dividing it down a center line and saying those on this side of the confidence fence, they have a tendency to not have as many confidence issues, and if they're really supported and nurtured, they can have a very healthy confidence quite easily, and they can also have a tendency to overdo it a little bit, to go a little overconfident and take on some really bad mental habits that can be very harmful to those sitting on the other side of the confidence fence. And on the other side of the confidence fence is those who, if they're in a wonderful environment and nurtured to grow their confidence will grow, but they also have a lot of external factors, even besides parenting, that make them sensitive to question themselves, to doubt themselves, because they are on the feeling, emotional side of the fence, where on the other side of the fence, where those who don't have a tendency to have confidence issues, they're not as feeling information, they're knowing information, and they're more logical thinkers. So a lot of it has to do with the type of mind that we have as a health type. So I've divided it out this way, but I also want to mention that just because I've divided it out this way, this is not black and white, cut and dry. This is a fact. And if you fall in this category, this is how you're going to be or how you're not going to be. No, this is a guideline, and it is a theory, my personal theory, based off of what I know of the health types and the mind in each health type, what I have observed in numerous sessions that I've done with different health types, and this is a theory that I have come up with based off of that. So I want to say that kind of as a disclaimer to say, you know, if you're a diplomat out there, and I know a lot of diplomats gravitate to the courses that I write, if you're a diplomat out there and you're saying, wait, I have major confidence issues, and I have the sensitivities too, like I feel other people's emotions and I doubt and question myself, just know that that's fine. Like, I'm not arguing that point. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel that way or that can't happen to you. Not saying that whatsoever. And you have to look at you as an individual, which is why I'm giving you all of the factors that I want you to take into consideration as to why your confidence level is at the space that it is. I want you to look at all of it. I want you to look at all of your environmental factors, your genetic factors, your relationships, all of the things that would have impacted it in one way or another. All of us are a unique blend. We're a unique blend of experiences, of beliefs, of health types, of the way our mind works, what we grew up watching and witnessing others do, the habits that we picked up, the habits that come naturally to us. So for me to say this mold fits each and every one of you, this theory that I have is going to be absolutely 100% correct, would be very wrong and would be very unfair of me to try to have you come to that belief, because it's just not accurate. So just wanted to let you know that, and I also want to talk to the side of the wheel, and if you don't remember what that is, the confidence fence. I'll try to use that term instead of wheel. I say wheel because it's a circle, and you fall somewhere in this 360-degree circle on the wheel, W-H-E-E-L, just in case you can't understand my accent and you're wondering, what the heck is she talking about will? Will to live? Like, what kind of will is she referring to? That's what I mean. But I'll try to keep to the term confidence fence. On the, I don't have a natural tendency to have confidence issues, are the are the diplomats, censors, and crusaders. Diplomats, censors, crusaders. Those on the other side of the fence that do have a tendency to have confidence issues for various reasons are the activators, the connectors, and the guardians. So I just wanted to refresh your memory on that, and also tell you I want to make sure those on the more confident side of the fence, the diplomats, the censors, and crusaders, that nothing that I'm saying is because I'm setting out to make you the bad guy here, or make you negative, or make you wrong, or anything like that. Nothing whatsoever. Promise. I just want you to understand your natural tendencies, and I want the other side of the fence to understand their natural tendencies, and I want everyone to be able to come to a balance. And I know I have people sitting on the more confident side of the fence who have been abused, or who have gotten into a relationship, a narcissistic or toxic relationship with someone, and it could have been with someone who was an activator or a connector or a guard. It could be reversed, because there's so many factors at play here that can make the balance swing one way or the other. So if you're sitting over there and you're like, well, wait a minute, I was actually in a relationship with an activator, and my confidence was totally destroyed, totally torn down. So I want you to know that can also happen. So no one is right or wrong, good or bad. It's not about that. I'm just laying out the theory that I have around health types, around the way the minds work, and the way what I have seen, the percentages, the trends, the patterns that I've picked up in sessions, is that I'm seeing a lot of people who have issues because of their parenting were children of censors, crusaders, or diplomats. Now, please, if you've got a hard and critical mind and you sit on that side of the fence, please don't then go beat yourself up. Like, oh my God, I have children and now I'm going to ruin them. No, that does not mean that that's what's happening. It doesn't mean that that's what you're going to do. All that means is now you know to be alert, to be careful of your tendencies, to notice these things. If you are having some of these more harsh or critical patterns in your parenting, notice it, okay? I'm only giving you this information not for the purpose of guilt and shame and to make you feel bad about yourself and to make you judge yourself. Absolutely not. It's the opposite. The opposite is true. I'm giving you this information so that you can take it then and do something very constructive with it, and help heal yourself, and then also to be cautious and to be careful to nurture the confidence of those around you, your children, your spouses, whoever it may be. But everybody, no matter what side of the fence you sit on, you have to do it for yourself first. And that is what we're here for. So please don't and I know a lot of you have harsh and critical minds because you've got confidence issues. So I don't want you going into that negative self-talk, because that defeats the purpose of what we're doing here. What we're doing here is to get rid of that negative self-talk so your confidence can flourish, and then to heal, and then you can take that new language of the caretaker that we're coming to, one of patience, one of compassion, one of kindness, and you can take that language that you've now used to build your own confidence and support its growth, and you can start to use that with everyone around you. That is the point of this. So I know that I am talking to so many different minds out there and so many different categories and health types, and I just want to eliminate the confusion. I want to make it as simple as possible. If your mind is ever saying, oh, she thinks I'm bad, or I am bad and I should punish myself, no, please just press the pause button and say that's not what this is. And actually that would tear down what we're trying to accomplish here. So that will never be true. That will never be my intention at all, I promise. So saying that, let's get on with today's lesson. I feel it's important to mention that you can also have environmental childhood factors. If either of your parents or someone in your household was suffering from strong emotional pain or mental health issues. If you also had a genetic predisposition, meaning you were on the weaker side of the confidence fence, activator, connector, guardian, your sensitivities would have also made it more difficult to grow in confidence, since your solar plexus, which we talked about yesterday, would have been preoccupied processing the emotions of others. You would have assumed these emotions belong to you and that you must have problems and mental issues. So there is another factor in this environmental fact, this childhood environment that you grew up in. You could have had harsh or critical parents, or you could have had emotionally heavy parents, meaning they were sweet as pie, they were as kind to you as they could be, but they were severely depressed, or they had suppressed emotions or suppressed anger or suppressed anything, poor coping skills. They had some mental issues. They were not healthy mentally, and their emotions inside themselves were super heavy. Okay, so that could also, so you had wonderful parents, but you had parents who were depressed, or who had mood swings, or who were unpredictable, or if you were in that environment as a child, that would have also hindered your confidence growth, because instead of being able to focus on knowing what you feel and getting sure of who you are and what's going on inside of you, all of that would have been cluttered and distorted. It's almost like a radio station that's picking up lots of different signals. So instead of having a pure signal of, oh, this is me and this is how I normally feel, this is how I am, and if I feel this, and I now I understand this about me, and I'm learning about me, and I'm becoming confident and knowing myself and what I feel and what I think. And so instead of doing that, if you had a pure station, if you had a heavy a parent or someone around you living in your house that you were around a lot, and they were very heavy emotionally, that's like static coming into your station. So you never really know, and you would not know this as a child, and you probably didn't even know this as an adult. You would never know what's yours and what's theirs. So you're feeling what they're feeling, and you are assuming that that is you. You're assuming that you're sad. You're assuming that you're feeling this anger that you're feeling is from something your mind is doing or saying. You're muddled. It's like muddy water inside of that part of you where your confidence is supposed to be growing. So instead of nice, clear, healthy water feeding your little confidence plant, it's just murky mud. And so it's very hard to grow in that because it's very confusing. It's emotionally confusing. It's mentally confusing. It's hard to get a baseline and get to understand and learn about yourself and become confident in what you know about you when you're also processing a lot of other people's stuff. Now, I know that's in the woo-woo world again, but guys, we have to look at the spiritual side of things as well. We have to take in every piece of information that has anything to do whatsoever with your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual well-being. And the unseen, which when I talk about energy, that's unseen. You can't see that. You can't see that that's happening. You can't see this radio station, these other radio stations that are blending with yours, and now you're confused or thinking it's you. You always think it's you. You can't see that. So you wouldn't possibly know that that's what's going on, but I want to teach you to get into the habit, especially, I'm not saying that this is limited to the activators, connectors, and guardians, but especially if you are on that side where you do pick up more spiritual stuff through your feeling senses, your gut, your core, your solar plexus. If you're over there, I want you to get into the habit of asking yourself when you're starting to learn to care for your inner child and your mind, and you're being loving and compassionate, and it pokes its head up with some feeling, I want you to have a checklist and say, okay, well, instead of just jumping to the assumption or conclusion that this is me and this is mine, I actually need to look at this because I was feeling fine. Nothing was going on. Ask yourself, if your mind wasn't going off into some memory, didn't take you off into the basement, wasn't digging through the past, wasn't tormenting you over something that you've done, if your caretaker wasn't provoking you, if everything was smooth and you were feeling fine, and then suddenly you have a feeling of sadness, of heaviness, of just, wow, what is that? I want you to get into the habit of saying, okay, wait a minute, I could assume this is me and my mind, and I'm off again in the, I've got to heal myself again. I've got to go deal with my mind again. I want you to, and it could be, but I want you to have a checklist to say, you know what, it's not always me. That should be everybody here taking this class should have the motto, it's not always me. That should be your mantra. Maybe that's a better word. It's not always me. Yes, sometimes it's me. And I also need to do a little self-reflecting and self-check. Is it me? If it's me, I'm willing to take 100% responsibility for it and work with it and take care of it. If it's not me, I also need to acknowledge that. So I want you to get into the habit of having a little checklist to say, okay, well, wait a minute, was my mind upset about anything? Check in with it, ask it, are you upset about anything? No, but I just feel sad. Okay. Do you know why you feel sad? No, actually, I don't know why I feel sad. I just feel it. I just feel sad and really heavy. Okay, well, what was going on? Are you alone in the room? Is there anybody else in the room with you? Yes. Do you know their emotional state? Yes or no? Or are you in the room alone? But now this is going to be really out there. But there are energies around us that are not in physical bodies. Okay? So I know this is probably a lot to take in if you're not used to this kind of language, but or if you don't believe in that, and it's okay. It's okay if you don't. But I just want you to open your mind to the possibility that it's not always you. And if you are dealing with that, I'm going to have a separate bonus recording that you can listen to. And I'm going to take you through some things around the more spiritual side so that you can learn how to know when it's you, when it's not you, how to protect your energy, how to say, you know what, back up, like that energy is in my space, and I would appreciate if you just back that up a little bit. I want to teach you, if you're open to that, how to first assess what you're feeling and why, and then to deal with it on every level, not just with our exercises, with talking to our own mind, but I want you to be able to deal with it on a mental level, emotional level, physical level, spiritual level. I want you to take it as far and as deep as you want to take it. But the reason I'm talking more about this in this course is because it is about confidence. And I'm going to talk in just a minute about what confident in what. What is confidence anyway? I'm going to talk about that, but I just want you to look at every factor that can affect your confidence and affect your confidence from growing. Okay, so I want to be thorough in helping you understand everything that could have affected your confidence growth as a child. The more you can understand, the more misunderstandings we can clear up and help you begin to realize why you felt the way you did, and that your assumptions that something was wrong with you are just not true. This is part of the process, finding the truth of what was really going on in and around you when your confidence was supposed to be developing. When we clear up these misunderstandings, oh, something was wrong with me, it was always me. When we start to clear up more and more and more of those misunderstandings by helping you see the truth of what was going on around you and what was actually impacting your confidence growth, that is where strength comes from. Every time your mind can understand this in a brand new way, you get stronger. You get stronger in what you know about you, and your little confidence plant gets stronger and stronger and stronger. That's what we're doing here. We're building strength. And the truth, going back, looking at how you were parented, looking at who you were as a health type, looking at how your mind functions, looking at the relationships you went through, looking at every single factor of that is what we're doing. It's like fertilizer. It's like the more you know, the more information that you have, the stronger your little plant can get. If you constantly think, I'm telling you, the thought, oh, it's me, what have I done now? And that self-criticism and that self-hate and that shaming and that guilting and that negative self-talk and that being harsh and critical, that might as well take the scissors out and cut your plant down. Every single time you do that. Not saying it can't regrow, but if you're still got the scissors in your hand, forget about it. You got to put the scissors down. We've got to stop. It doesn't matter how much truth or how much strength your little plant starts to get. If you turn around and attack yourself and feed it that garbage of, oh, it's me, it's always me, then that's toxic to your little plant. We want health, okay? So the healthy stuff that we can give this confidence plant that we're growing is asking the questions. Now please don't swing the opposite way. Please don't always be like, oh, it's always them, it's never me. No, that's not true. The balance, the mindset that you must have for the balance, whether you're on the overly confident side or you're on the doormat side, the balance is a healthy self-reflection. Not oh, it's always me, I'm sure it's me, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I do this and that. That's doormat language. That's That's a mindset of somebody who is not taking in the truth, and they just always assume it's them. And it's not, oh yeah, it's, boy, they're messed up. They're crazy. I can't believe they even said that. And then you turn yourself into the victim because they're attacking you and blaming you for stuff, and you won't even consider, like your mind can't even open enough to consider that part of what they may be saying could be true. Like maybe I need to look at this. So that's the other end of the spectrum. That's the narcissistic person side of the spectrum. They can't self-reflect at all, where the doormat, that's all they ever do. They can't project it out. They can't imagine that it's coming from anywhere else because they're so, beat down. So the balance in the middle is where everybody says, okay, I hear what you just said there. I hear what you're accusing me of or what you're saying about me. And you know what I'm going to do with that information? I'm not just going to assume it's true, and I'm not just going to assume it's false. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to take my time with it, and I'm going to look at it. And I'm going to say, okay, well, do I do this? Was I this? Was I that? Is there something I can change about me? Can I heal that about me? Yep, I can take ownership of that. I take responsibility. Yep, my mind did that. None of us are perfect. All of our minds, it's very easy to pop out one of those bad mind habits that we're trying to get away from. So easy. None of us are perfect. So, we're going to get to that in this course too, about perfection. Perfection is a myth. It doesn't exist. None of us are perfect. We're all human beings with these minds who are attached to these egos, okay? That can sneak its way through anytime. It just happens, all right? It just does. And the sooner you can accept that about yourself, accept, the wonderful parts that you love, and accept the not so nice parts that you'd rather never have to experience again. We have to love it all. We have to love every single aspect of ourselves. Unconditional love is loving it all. You can't just pick the parts that you like about you and hate the rest. So in the middle ground is what we're talking about. Picture the middle of that seesaw. It's not it's always me, or it's always somebody else. It's never me. It's not that. It's coming in to say, let me do my self-reflect checklist. Okay, let me self-reflect on this, and let me take what I need out of it. Let me ask myself some questions. Do I do this? Let me drop my defenses. Let me stop being so defensive about this and actually contemplate, okay, I don't want to admit this about me. I really don't. I don't like that when I see it in other people, and I really don't want to see it in myself. But you know what? It is possible that it's there, and I just don't want to admit it's there. So you have to be willing to have an open mind to say, even though I don't want this to be true about me, I don't want to have this bad habit, I really don't. I need to look and see if I do. Because if it's true, I want to change it about myself. It doesn't mean you have to shame yourself or hate yourself for it. No, absolutely not. It just means I'm seeing something that I don't want to choose. I get to choose what's in my personality bank over here. I get to choose the things, the way I treat other people. I get to choose the way my mind interacts with other minds. And I'm seeing something that I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate myself for it at all, but I would like to change it. I accept it. I'm going to take what I need from this conversation. I'm going to drop my defenses. I'm going to self-reflect and say, okay, all right, yep, I'll take ownership of that. Not everything that they'll accuse you of will be true, which is why you have to question it for yourself. And this is a big part of what you're learning in trusting yourself, is that you know your gauge of right and wrong. Okay, and we're going to talk about right and wrong too, and kind of let that mentality go. But it's not about right and wrong. It's about what you choose, who you choose to be to the world, how you choose to interact with other people. That's what it's about. It all comes down not to right and wrong, and this is how everyone in the world should behave, and this is how nobody should behave, and here's the rules, and this is how. Nope. Every individual on this planet gets to choose the behaviors that feel right to their heart. They get to choose their own version of right and wrong. And they can't oppose that on others because it's not for anybody else but you and how you want to choose to interact with other people. For me to say, hey, meet everybody with unconditional love. You know what? That's my idea. You are your own person, and you get to choose how you want to interact with people. And for me to sit here and judge you for that, or shame you for that, or say you shouldn't do that, I can't do that. It's none of my business. Do I think that there'll be consequences and there'll be a lot of drama in your life? And yeah, I do. I've watched it happen. Like, it's just kind of what you see happen when people choose, behavior that's out of the realm of unconditional love. It is, but that's not my business. I can't. They get to choose what is for them. I have chosen a path. I'm not saying I can do it perfectly. I absolutely 100% cannot, but I'm practicing it, and my path is unconditional love, and trying to be a safe space for other people so that they can figure that out for them, so that they can hear not me and my mind and what my mind thinks they should do, but that they can hear their own heart. They can hear their own connection to source, divine energy, to God, to love, to whatever you want to call that, greater force, and I don't care about that either. So they can connect to that and get their own information, get their own roadmap, get their own instructions. That's what I want for the people in my experience. That's what I'm choosing, not because it's right or wrong, but that's what I'm feeling in my heart, in my spirit, would be the right path for me, would be to go to a path of unconditional love. And I'm doing my best at it. Like I said, not perfect. Oh my goodness, I still have a lot of really not so good mind habits, and I use my self-reflect checklist, and I'm grateful for those experiences in life that show me where I still can't really do it well. I can see, oops, yeah, I didn't do it too good that time. So how can I do it differently? I'm grateful for those experiences where I do have to self-reflect. I do have to take a look at myself and say, okay, let me, see if I can do that differently. But the goal is for when those experiences come up where you are given the opportunity to self-reflect on your behavior and the things you do and the things you say and how you carry yourself in life, that it doesn't send you off balance in your confidence. And the way that it could send you off balance in your confidence is if you start to attack yourself, shame yourself, guilt yourself because you made a, air quotes, mistake. You made a mistake in how you treated that person. That will send that's scissors in hand, you've cut your confidence down. Now you've got to start back at square one. So that's not the purpose of self-reflecting, is to destroy everything that you've strengthened, to destroy everything that you know to be true about yourself, to send you off into emotional despair and tormenting yourself. Nope, put the scissors down. It's just to say we need to tweak a few things, and it's okay. This isn't the end of the world. Nobody died, okay? It's just to tweak a few things. You're still okay. You're fine. It's not all lost. I've got some minds out there that one teeny tiny little mistake and everything they've done for the past 50, 60 years has been for nothing. That's what their minds will tell them. And it's just not true. It's just a blip. It's just a little bitty speck in the grand snowball of life. That's all it is. It's not a big deal. Yeah, okay. Maybe I shouldn't have said what I just said to that person. But I'm no longer going to beat myself into a bloody pulp because I made one mistake or one error in judgment or one. I don't do that to myself anymore. I'm nicer to myself. I'm kinder to myself. I love myself unconditionally, even when I say things that in hindsight, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. I take ownership for it, and I don't destroy my confidence over it. I take ownership and I say, you know what? I'm going to change that, and I'm also going to apologize to that person. I'm going to take ownership of and responsibility for what I did and what I said that could have harmed them and what they thought about them. And I'm going to do it differently next time, okay? Like I'm really going to give it a better effort. And that's learning, people. That's what learning is. You're not here to beat yourself into submission. You're here to learn. You're not here to destroy your confidence and tear yourself down constantly. You're here to learn. And you're here to learn how to support yourself as you're learning. Support that little inner child as it's learning. Don't tear it down and beat it and call it names and shame it. Don't do that. We're coming to a place where we're learning how to care for ourselves as we're going through this learning experience. Okay, I hope that helped. That was quite a tangent there, but I hope the past 3 days or more that you've, since you did lesson 1, have been eye-opening, and you've been able to see why you feel the way you do and why you have the behaviors you have. Your mind copes with this lack of confidence in the best way it can. Your mind will have some fears. As we start to go through this process, your mind's going to be very nervous, and that's normal. And it may be afraid that you're going to make it do things that make it uncomfortable, and that you're going to push it and force it and make it stand up to people. And nope, I want to stop you right there. No, we are not going to rush this. We're not going to make you do things that make your mind terrified. Absolutely not. We're going to take this slow and easy. And when you're comfortable, we're going to take little baby steps to say, you know what? I actually am not, maybe a little bit afraid to say this to this person, but not overly afraid. Like, I think I can handle it. I think I'm strong enough. I think my little plant is strong enough to handle the mind that I'm about to engage with. And then you go in the ring. I would be doing you a huge disservice if you've got this little baby plant and I send you into the ring with someone who has a massive oak tree of confidence, as in Narcissist City, as in do no wrong ever, can't self-reflect to save their lives, they would squash you so fast. And oh my gosh, it would be horrible. Horrible. It'd be like sending a toddler into the octagon it's like so unfair. That's such an unfair fight. And this isn't about fighting. It's about standing strong inside yourself and being strong enough to not go into fighting, to not go into self-defense, to not go into attacking the other person, but to be strong enough to engage with their super strong energy, to hold your own. And you know what? You might get the crap beat out of you the first couple of times you try it, okay? But I am never going to send you into the ring and tell you to go have a conversation with someone of that capacity. No way would I do it, and I don't want you to do it. Actually, you need to avoid those interactions while you're in this process of getting stronger. You need to avoid those interactions as much as possible. We're trying to create a safe environment for you to get to know yourself, for you to get to know your own mind habits and how you hold the scissors and tear your little plant down. And we're also trying to get some truth poured in there so that you can see how you always thought it was you, but it actually wasn't. We're trying to build that strength up and then help you to trust yourself, because you're becoming a very good caretaker of your own mind now. And then we can practice some interactions with those tougher minds out there, okay? And you may live in a house with someone right now where you're like, I can't even separate from them. I don't even know how. I just want you to know that that's okay. And if you will listen to the bonus recordings that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to provide a safe space for yourself by protecting yourself energetically and spiritually, even though they may still be in your presence and you can't avoid it. Like maybe they're your ex-husband, or maybe it's not a choice to separate yourself from this person. I think that's also a disservice that we tell as therapists. We can tell people who are in a toxic relationship, oh, leave them. Why aren't you leaving them? Like, why are you staying? This is ridiculous. No, you're in something. And if we told you to just leave that person, your mind couldn't handle that. And it's very unfair for somebody to suggest that you're able to do that. You're entangled, and you're not strong enough to untangle that yourself. You're up against a giant. And for us to just say, yeah, just walk away. The best thing that you can do is separate yourself and walk away. Well, that may be true, but that's not realistic. And when we tell you that, then that makes your confidence go even lower, because now you think something's wrong with you that you can't pull away. And I just want to say to you, if that's you and you're listening to me right now, nothing's wrong with you, okay? You've just gotten into a confidence balance that is way polar opposite. And you need to grow in strength, and you need to grow in the knowledge of yourself before you can even begin to untangle. Now, I'm going to put a little disclaimer on this. If you're in a relationship, yes, if you're in that kind of relationship, it is damaging to you because they're tearing you down emotionally and mentally. If they're also physically abusive, now this is the only time I would, not that mental or emotional abuse is good, but if your life is in danger, I'm not suggesting that you just do it all by yourself, because you can't. That's unfair. But I'm saying if you can get somebody to help you to get out of that situation, then please do. Don't stay there and try to do these techniques knowing that, the next encounter could be your last. Please don't put yourself in that type of jeopardy. And if the emotional mental abuse is really bad to the point you're so confused, you can't put thoughts together, you can't think. I've been there where the abuse has been that power, that energy coming at you is too much for you to handle. Also, please reach out to someone. And you know what? Even if it's not, you're somewhere in the middle of that or not even close to that, please have a support person. I think that's a very important point to make here. Please get a support person that is safe. They're safe. They don't make you feel shame or guilt. They support you. Have them listen to this recording so that they can start to know how to be a safe person for you. Get that support person for you. You don't need a person who is going to judge you, who is going to shame you, who is going to say, you should have never gotten that relationship anyway, or why are you staying with them? You know how bad they treat you. It's like, you don't need to hear that, okay? You know that better than anybody on this planet. You know that to the core of your being, that it was a mistake. You don't need anybody to tell you that. You got it. Trust me, you know. But you're also emotionally involved. That's the tangle that I'm talking about. You're woven into it. You're in it. Maybe you have kids with this person. It's not as simple as everybody standing on the outside of this makes it sound. And it's easy to stand outside of there and judge you from the outside. You don't need that. You need someone who says, I see you, I got you, and you can talk to me about anything, and I will support you as you're starting to grow and strength and in confidence. I'm here for you, whatever you need. There are no mistakes here with me. I'm not going to point out your mistakes. I'm not going to rub them in your face. Nothing like that. I'm going to be here for you. So do your best. If you're a praying person, start to pray for that person to come into your life, and I really do believe it will. If you're here listening to this and you're a praying person, it's probably you've been led to this information. You need help. And if this is past you, you had this experience in the past, you went through this where you were you can't even think, like I'm telling you, I know exactly what it is. It's your mind is so confused, it can't even put thoughts together. If you've ever been through that experience, you needed a support person. And if you didn't have that, I am so sorry. I'm sorry that you went through that alone. But I also want to sit here and tell you what a strong person I think you are to have survived it. Your mind has some resilience about it. Your mind is super resourceful, and it made it through that even without the support of other people, and I just want to commend you for that, and I want you to be proud of yourself for being able to come through a situation like that. It is a tough one. It is hard. It's hard on you at every level of your being. And the bad thing is first, you don't understand what's going on. The second thing is you assume that it's you. And then you've got the other person confirming that for you. And then saying that a lot of times one of their mental tactics is they say conflicting things that are confusing. So that leaves your mind trying to make sense out of something that it's not sensible, like as in you couldn't make sense of it even if you tried. Like there is no sense to it. And that's a tactic, that's a mind tactic to throw you off the scent so that they can continue doing the behavior that they're doing and continue getting away with that. And you're so confused, you don't know what's true and what's not. It's really a really tough and hard experience. And I just want to say that if you're going through that, I'm so sorry. And if you know someone going through that, please share this with them. Please, 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 please. They need help. If you know someone's going through that severity of it, please be there. Once you get yourself in a good place with this, be their safe space. There's just not enough safe spaces out there. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of I told you so's. There's a lot of that type of language and mentality, but there's not a lot of safe spaces out there that say it's okay. It's okay that you're here and in this space, in this mess. It's okay that you're here. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You were attracted to this out of balance, toxic type of relationship. It's not your fault. This happened, okay? And now we're going to see that this has happened. We're going to accept that this has happened, and we're going to start to heal and grow and recover from what has happened. Okay? All right. Let's see. Where are we? Your mind copes with lack of confidence in the best way it can. So as I was saying, we're going to take this slow. Your mind will have some doubts. We will need to be patient with your mind as we help it heal, and then slowly and gently help it become comfortable making choices, making mistakes, speaking up, setting boundaries, and doing all the things that need to be done to protect your confidence energy and maintain the balance of your personal power. Mistakes are okay, and so are you. Are you afraid of making mistakes? If you are, chances are that you may have made a mistake as a child and suffered a very negative and often scary overreaction or consequence. You were not met with patience and compassion. It's also very possible that as you grew up, you continued where your parents left off and became extremely hard on yourself. No mistakes allowed. Ever. Don't be human, okay? No mistakes allowed. If you made a choice that turned out less than perfect, you engaged in some pretty negative self-talk. This negative self-talk is what we call the caretaker part of the mind. It is the part of your mind that has to learn to care for the child. If we're going to create a nurturing environment in which to grow your little confidence plant, you, as the caretaker, will have to learn how to not tear it down and demolish your progress with negative self-talk every time something doesn't go the way you thought it would or should. You, as the caretaker, will have to learn a new language that consists of patience, compassion, and kindness. You may have never had an external example of this, and that's okay. You can still learn how to do it for yourself. And you must learn this in order to provide a nurturing environment for confidence growth. So let's discuss confidence. Confidence in what? What does that even mean? Let's just look at it. Confident that you are safe. Confident that you will be met with unconditional love by your internal caretaker. Confident that you can handle situations with other minds. Confident that you can handle the minds of other people without being afraid. Confident that you are loved, safe, and okay no matter what. You know where you get that confidence? That confidence grows inside of you like a little seed and flourishes when you have a trusted relationship between your inner child part of the mind and the inner parent caretaker part of the mind. Confidence is a side effect of a healthy inner relationship built on trust. So the part of you that is becoming confident is the mind, the child part of the mind. That's the part that's becoming confident. And that's the little plant that's growing. And the reason it's growing in confidence is because you are now, as the caretaker, providing a nurturing, healthy space for it to grow. You're doing your self-reflecting. It's not always you. You're starting to learn, overcome the fear of mistakes. You're learning how to be comfortable with choices. You're learning how to trust that you can handle situations. And guys, we're just on lesson 2, okay? This is lesson 2. We're going to touch on all these things that I'm talking about, but I just want to talk about all of it in a big picture all along the way so that you can see what we're doing and why, what part of you holds the confidence, what part of you is damaged and destroyed and torn down when the caretaker or another mind, either your caretaker inside your head or someone else's mind attacks it. That's what destroys confidence. That right there. You're being attacked either by others or you've gotten into the habit of attacking yourself. That has to stop. If you stop no other behavior in this course, these next 7 lessons, make that one you mark off your list. Attacking yourself. It's not necessary and it's damaging. Stop today. Stop attacking yourself. Okay, so our next step here is to make peace with mistakes. Fear of making mistakes must be overcome. When the caretaker meets the child with patience and love, when a mistake is made, instead of meeting it with anger, guilt, and shaming, trust will be built. Every time trust is built, the fear of mistakes is lessened. When the fear of mistakes starts to fade, making choices becomes easier and way less stressful. And guess what? Life is full of choices. This is a very important fear to overcome. One last note, and then I want you to go, and whenever you're ready, I want you to do the meditation to heal and clear any past pain from harsh words or negative consequences surrounding mistakes. So take time with that meditation, use it as often as you would like. But one last note here is that as you're learning to do this for yourself, if you have children, please begin to do this for them as well. You can even see your children as an outer reflection of your own inner child, and how you're learning a new language with you, and you're learning to be patient and compassionate and kind. You can also do this with them. Now, if you have a lot of suppressed pain inside, and you haven't been through the Learn to Tidy and Relax Your Mind course, and maybe you have, but you haven't really let out all, you haven't expressed all of it, and you've still got some super bad mind habits, go do that. Go start to work on that and then come back here. But if you've got pain, doing what I'm asking you to do with your children and with yourself right now is going to be super hard. Because when you're hurting inside, and you've got stored anger and you've got stored emotions, it's very difficult to come from an authentic place of kindness and patience. So you'll need to take care. And you know what? Even when you release your stored emotions, we can restore those. Like, you can get upset about something, decide not to process it and release it, that day. And then guess what? That's building. Now that's building up in you, and it becomes very hard to actually practice patience and kindness. It becomes almost impossible, and it's unrealistic of me to ask you to do that or expect you to be able to do that for yourself or for your children. A lot of times we can kind of fake it with our kids because we know all this stuff, and we're like, oh, I don't want to take this out on them. But you know what? If you're not expressing regularly your frustrations, if you haven't found a healthy outlet of expression for when you do get upset, when you do get frustrated, you're storing it, and then that's going to explode on those kids or on yourself. Okay? So you need to get that in check. Get a healthy daily because if you're raising kids, frustration, well, you got lots of them. Like, you're tired, you not really have space and time to meet your own needs as much as you would like. You've got a lot going on, okay? So frustration is normal, and it's a normal part of your daily experience. So you also need to have a normal outlet for that frustration daily. I don't care what it is. Like, you can go get a bat and beat the tree. Whatever does it for you, just make sure you do it every day. Make it a part of your self-care to get that frustration out, and then you will find it easier and more doable to meet your children and yourself with love and compassion and patience. So just notice, I know, like, raising kids, one of the things that used to set, I don't know why, but kids go through a phase of spilling things. Like, it just seems like everything they touch, they just spill it. Like, they just can't help it. Like, their coordination, they're just not quite there yet, but they're trying, and they want to, they get more independent. They want to do things themselves, and so they're going to spill a lot. Okay, they just are. It's just going to happen. But I used to get so frustrated with having to constantly stop what I was doing and clean up messes. And I know from my reactions, my children probably had the, oh, mistakes aren't okay. See how easy that is? See how easy it is for us as children to feel like mistakes are bad, mistakes are wrong, and to have a fear of mistakes, because mommy freaked out when I spilt the sippy cup. Mommy freaked out when I spilt the bowl of cereal. So therefore, oh, that's not a good thing to do. Don't make a mistake. Let's, so it's that easy to influence your children. So do your best. You're not perfect. Please don't. Please stay away from shame, guilt, and beating yourself up. That's the point of this whole thing. You're not perfect either. So when you do those things, say, you know what? Oops, yep, I did it. And now go back to your children and say, Mommy's really sorry. I'm so sorry. It's okay that you spilt that. It happens. Explain to them. Communicate with them. Go, help take that belief out of their little, very impressionable minds. It's okay. Mommy was just frustrated, and I wasn't feeling good. I was tired. I was sleepy. And when you spilt that, I had lost it, and it wasn't fair that, and it depends on the age of your children if you're able to use this language or not. But anyway, it's something to think about. We're all helping ourselves and helping each other as we're learning how to be better to ourselves. We're also, that can't help but spill out on everyone around us. So thank you so much for listening to today's lesson. Take your time with it again. You're overcoming fear of mistakes. So I want you to take your journals and really write about, maybe some experiences you had in the past where you made mistakes. How hard are you on yourself with mistakes? Write some things about that. Really explore it. Look at how deep your fear goes. Look at how powerful it is. Look at how much hold it has over you. Get a baseline of your fear around mistakes. And then you can see, as trust starts to build and you start to interact with yourself in a different way, you can then gauge, you can go back and look at that journal where you were at day one or today as you're just starting this process and say, oh wow, my fear was at a 10. I was really afraid of mistakes, and here's why. But now that I've, been doing this process and working on it, and I check in with it, that fear is maybe at a 5 or a 4, and that is your sign right there that your plant is stronger and bigger, and your relationship with your inner self is healthier. So go and listen to today's meditation, and I will see you for lesson 3.